Hi, welcome to Black to Bitcoin, where we talk about why Black people need Bitcoin desperately. Okay, I'm Tiffany, and today I'm going to start a series on the wealth gap and how Bitcoin is a solution to it. This is going to be part of a three-part series. So, because I just don't want these videos to be super long, so I'm going to break it up. But before I get into that, just want to say subscribe to the channel so that you can keep up with the series as well as any other videos that I put out to really try to drive it home that you need some Bitcoin. Okay. It really is a thing. But all right, I'm going to get into the wealth gap. Oh yeah, and I want to say this as well. So you should never ever invest in anything that you don't understand or that you don't feel confident about. So as much as I love Bitcoin and think it's the most amazing thing that has ever been created, that doesn't mean that you should just jump on board. You should know why you want to jump on board, understand the story behind it, understand what it really means, and things like that. So if you do need extra help with it, I put some books that I think will change your whole perspective and really help you understand why it's so good. So check out my description if you're interested in learning about Bitcoin a little more deeply. Okay? All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and get into this wealth gap stuff. First, I'm going to just give a few statistics so that you can see what we are working against, because knowledge is power, okay? So I have my notebook here too. I will always have it because I have to write down my thoughts, and it's the only way I'm going to give you my thoughts because otherwise I will forget. Okay, so I'm going to start with the overall percentage stat. So in America, Black people own 3.4% of the wealth in this country. Okay, compared to 84% of white people. Let that sink in. We own 3% of the wealth in this country. We make up 14% of the country. White people only make up 58% of the country, and we only own 3% of the wealth in this country. Just let that set in, okay? So the wealth gap is not this little gap, this little thing. Like, you hear the word and you're like, oh yeah, there's a wealth gap. No, it's more than a gap. It is like, I don't know what's thicker than a gap, the word for it, but it's more than a gap, okay? A gap is like a gap in your teeth, a little gap. This is like monumental. So let's just start with that. Then the other statistic is that the average Black household has $45,000 worth of wealth, as opposed to white households that have $285,000. Okay, so we're talking crazy numbers. And the interesting thing about this is that it was 6 times the amount, like very much recently, but it's been 10 to 12 times over time. So basically, we've gotten a little better, but not really. Okay, so those are the stats. So I just want to just get that out so that we really are understanding how bad it is, okay? And actually, I think I did it reverse. No, I'm right. It was 6 times, and then now it's 10 to 12 times. So, okay. All right, so I'm going to go over the first reason for the wealth gap. And this one is pretty much the foundation of why there is a wealth gap, and that is late access to assets. Okay? Now, when I say access, I mean anything that is not just cash. Okay? We're talking about homes, we're talking about stocks, we're talking about bonds, retirement, anything that is not just having cash in your bank account, okay? So that's what I mean by asset, to put that clearly. And when I say late access, I mean that we didn't have the opportunity to invest in these things as soon as white people did. Now, we know why. We know why it started that way, and it was because of slavery. Okay, that is clearly the reason why, but I have some more notes here just to kind of, frame it. All right, so the first thing in general is just the legal blocking. Okay, so like I said, slavery was definitely the beginning of it. That, is an obvious, we just we weren't human beings. Like, we didn't have the opportunity to do that. But then it kind of snowballed, right? So there was slavery where we just had no rights at all. Then it kind of snowballed into Jim Crow, where we were separated and we didn't have access in that way. Then that kind of went into redlining, where communities have been drawn differently, so we don't get the same access to banks, loans, things like that, things that can kind of help you. And not that I'm saying loans are, good loans. I'm not talking about credit card debt. I'm talking about loans to buy a house or something. Okay, that's what I'm talking. I'm not talking about debt. I'm talking about loans. Okay, which loans are debt, but you know what I mean. Okay. So the whole redlining thing kind of changed what kind of interest rates we can get on things. And then it just escalated into current racism. Okay, so while we don't have, any technical terms for anything, we do know that it still exists, right? So when you look at all those legal factors, it's basically making the point that this was intentional. Okay, since the beginning of time, not the beginning of time, but since our beginning in time in this country, it has been designed as the ultimate design that we don't have access to assets. And a lot of people will say, well, why don't y'all just, what they say, why don't y'all just, pull yourself whatever from the bootstraps or whatever that saying is, and do better. And the answer is we don't have the money to do better. Okay, I'm not even getting into like pay and all of those other barriers. I'm talking about just the flat out access to the assets and being able to get to those, and the fact that even with the middle class and wealthy Black people, there still was a huge head start. Okay, so obviously, if there's like all these companies, McDonald's, Target, whatever, okay, all these companies that were passed down. Actually, I don't know how new Target is, but like, the ones, McDonald's, like the simple stuff that you use, your TV company and things that have been around for decades. People who are benefiting from it now, they're benefiting because their ancestors, families started these things and has accumulated the wealth because of it. So that is just the clear we had late access thing. What else did I have? Oh yeah, and then I just on top. Well, I basically just said it, but it's the thing of compounding wealth. So if you get a head start, start investing in the stock market in 1950, right? Someone did that in 1950. They're growing stocks. They get into Apple stock before it explodes. They get into Uber or whatever, any stock, okay, as time progresses, okay, and I'm not saying those things aren't super new, but you see what I'm saying, like the next generation gets into Apple, but as it's happening, their money is compounding. Now, if we're starting and Uber or Apple is our first stock because we're just learning about the stock market, we don't have that compounding interest that they had from 1950 when Grandpa, started investing in whatever company was the new company that was going to be, big down the road. So it's just that being late, okay? You can't start a race halfway, like everybody else is halfway there and you just start the race. The chances of you winning is pretty much zero. So we didn't have the access to that. So that was the last point I had about it, but I want to talk about Bitcoin and how it is a solution. And the answer to that is we are here and it is the beginning of it. Okay? Bitcoin is new. All right. And let me just say this because people want to look at it as a stock. It's not stock, it's actual money. It is the money that is going to replace the dollar as the world currency. Okay? That is the easiest way I can put it for you to understand how important Bitcoin is. Okay? I can get passionate about it. But that's what you need to think about first. So, because it's new, it started in 2009, we have the opportunity to get on the boat early. Okay? Get on the boat early. And as I'm saying on the boat, I'm thinking this is the only boat, okay, associated with black people that is going to be a good thing. We don't have good history with boats, but we need to get on this one. This one needs to be, we need to be jumping to get on the ladder to this boat, okay? But that is the main thing. It is a new asset. It just started in 2009. It's something that we can start investing in now, and we will build generational wealth. Okay, we will build generational wealth. It's not even just generational. People who get into it now in 10, 15 years are going to be so grateful that they did it. And it's just going to be amazing. And I can't wait to see it happen because I'm retiring early, honey. I can't wait to retire. But that's something for another day. So that is the solution. So I always want to have the solution, the Bitcoin solution to the end of the topic. And I think I have achieved that. So let's see, what else do I have? That's it. Thanks for rocking with me on this topic. As I said, I have 2 more to go. There are going to be other reasons for the wealth gap, and I'm going to tell you how Bitcoin can help you with that. Other than that, make sure you subscribe so you can see that series, as well as everything else coming up. I have so much to say about Bitcoin. I have so much to say about it, and I'm so excited to be talking about it and really hope and believe that I'm going to make a change. Because if I can just get a couple people on board, I have done my part. You know what I'm saying? So I just have that. And like I said, go to the description, get a book. Get a book, start with a book. Okay? Get a book. Understand. I suggest the Bitcoin Standard, honestly, as the first one, and I'll put that in the description as well, that I think is the first one you should do because it explains money and how and why money the way it is going to collapse. And you need to understand it. And then once you understand it, maybe you'll want to start investing in it. All right. I'm outie. Hope you have an amazing day, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.